following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Welcome into Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao alongside Mo Patton here, and glad to be with you here back on Thursday. We missed you yesterday. Had a staff-wide meeting, so Mo, we were unable to get out there, but we are back, and we've got a big show today, man.
Hey, yeah, looking forward to it. Looking great to be back, obviously, and got a couple of pretty good guests, I think. The new athletics director at Zion Christian, Kelly Bretton, is going to be joining us here later in this hour. And in the next hour, we will be joined by ESPN baseball writer Jeff PASSAN. A lot going on with the trade deadline coming up next week, and maybe he's got some thoughts about what our Braves may be doing and some other stuff. So, pretty, like you said, pretty good show per usual, but I'm really kind of fired up about our guests today.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. We have all kinds of things going on right now with, high school sports kind of getting underway, and obviously college and pro right around the corner. And that's obvious, that's ever a bad thing when there's more football headed our way. So one thing though, Mo, that is kind of going on is our opening kickoff today comes, I have it coming from high school sports, as I guess tonight there will be several high school football scrimmages across the mid-state. And that is that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. We've got the season starting on August 19th or the 18th. If you're playing on Thursday night, there will be jamborees on August 12th. So basically we're about 2 weeks away for a lot of folks. So yeah, getting those scrimmages going here tonight and tomorrow night's a pretty big deal. I know Lebanon is at Spring Hill tomorrow evening. I think Independence is going to Montgomery Bell Academy tomorrow evening. I'm not sure of any other scrimmages off the top of my head. You may know a little bit more about that since you've got it as the top story.
Well, no, I'm just looking across, obviously the Main Street at mainstreetpreps.com, you can actually find a comprehensive scrimmage schedule. And of course that's what's been submitted to them. And sometimes that also means that there are some differences. We'll just say that, like, Lebanon is allegedly coming to Spring Hill for a scrimmage tomorrow night, but also scheduled to be at Columbia Academy are the Raiders. So, there are some. It's not exactly an exact science, but there are a lot of them, and so that's kind of.
I got nothing there.
I don't know if that's me or you that froze up a little bit there.
Nah, I don't know what to tell you.
There you go. You're back. There you go. You're back, Mo.
Are we back? Cool. Well, yeah. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on in high school sports. It's basically the kickoff of the season. 7-on-7s have kind of gone by the wayside, and scrimmages will start picking up. And that means that you get to see some linemen passing blocks.
Yeah, they finally get involved, other than just one of them snapping it back to the quarterback. So I'm sure that the linemen on both sides of the ball are a little excited that real football is around the corner for them. As Tony Brunetti, the Pearl Cone coach, once told me, walking off the field after a 7-on-7, everything changes when you put the pads on. So
everything does change, but even in these scrimmages, you can see some very odd things, such as you and I know specifically last year we watched Columbia Central hold Tullahoma scoreless, and Tullahoma just went and won a 4A state title. Is all.
Maybe that was the turning point for Tullahoma.
that was the wake up call.
Yeah.
Well, tonight's
John Olive obviously coached him up from that point. So
yeah, clearly. Tonight's schedule does include some Whitwell's at Moore County, Collinwood's going over to Hickman County. So those are a couple of games or a couple of scrimmages that you can see. And then tomorrow, like I said, tons of stuff. Cane Ridge is at Oakland, BGA's at Blackman. If your local school is having a football scrimmage, you can probably find it. Just head out to the practice field if you want to take it all in.
I tell you, I'm seeing that Beach at Northeast scrimmage, and I remember when those two played on a Thursday night. It's been about 8 years ago, probably more than that, because Jalen Reeves-Maben was on the field for Northeast, and Jalen Hurd was on the field for Beach, and both those guys are long gone from the high school level, but that was a really fun matchup there, and so to see them scrimmaging each other tomorrow night, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, again, you just see a lot of new faces. You're going to see a lot of kids that maybe are fighting for playing time, and so sometimes you can find some diamonds in the rough. Again, that Tullahoma Columbia Central scrimmage last year was the first time we saw Caden McCoy for Columbia Central, and it was obvious that he was going to be a playmaker from, the moment we saw him play.
And he was. Yeah, absolutely. CPA at Springfield. That's interesting. Little town and country action.
Well, and CPA with what they do, and Springfield and what they do. Mm-hmm. CPA probably doesn't see a whole lot of
that
the wing tee, but I guess if you're trying to get ready for Oakland, you might take something from it.
Yeah.
So there you go. But yeah, that's what's cool about this is, the coaches who are buddies, they just get their teams together. This is not about, this isn't about trying to do anything more than get acclimated. 2 years ago when we didn't have scrimmages, that was exactly what every coach talked about, was it's going to take us 3 weeks to get ready, because we typically have 3 weeks of preseason against other teams, and we haven't had that.
Sure. And I like these best versus best matchups. Again, you've got a 3-way at Brentwood Academy, as Father Ryan and Ravenwood will both be going over to Carlton Flat Field tomorrow night. So that should be fun as well.
Yeah, no question. So it is going to be fun. High school football season is officially kicking off, tonight. I don't know if they'll actually kick off, Mo. but you knew what I meant. I meant.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we missed yesterday, so we're going to give you a couple extra things on today's results and the schedule for today as we get ready to bring you today's rundown.
This is the rundown.
Go ahead, Mo.
Oh, it's been a minute.
It has been a minute. Yeah, in Tuesday's baseball action, Pittsburgh defeated the Chicago Cubs 4-2. It was the Marlins 2, the Cincinnati Reds 1. Braves with a 6-3 win at Philadelphia. The Blue Jays defeated the Cardinals 10-3. It was the Brewers 7, the Twins 6, and the Nashville Sounds with a 5-2 win over Charlotte. Also in WNBA action on Tuesday, I don't know if it was night, day, or what, but in the Commissioner's Cup Championship, the Las Vegas Aces defeated the Chicago Sky 93-83.
It was Tuesday night, and it was on Amazon Prime, which was pretty cool. I watched a little bit of it, hoping that, obviously Candace Parker could bring home the Commissioner's Cup, but she did not. So well done to the Aces.
Yeah.
In Wednesday action in baseball, it was the Phillies 7, the Braves 2 in that series finale. And, well, that's about par of the course. Brewers 10, Twins 4, Reds 5-3 winners over the Marlins. It was the Cardinals 6, the Blue Jays 1. And in minor league action, the Sounds downed Charlotte 12-5.
In baseball action today, the Reds are up on the Marlins 5-3 in the top of the 7th. Also tonight, the Cubs will play at San Francisco. That's an 8:45 start out on the West Coast. In WNBA action today, Minnesota plays at the Atlanta Dream. That's a 6 o'clock start on Twitter. Also at 6 o'clock on NBA TV, Seattle is at the Connecticut Sun. Washington is at Dallas at 7 on CBS Sports Network and also on CBSSN. The back half of that doubleheader has the LA Sparks at Phoenix at 9. And that is your rundown.
All right, we will be right back. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Kelly Bratton, the new athletics director at Zion Christian Academy, and he'll tell us about what he's got, what his thoughts are for the Eagles programs as they find themselves in the TSIAA right now, and see what the future holds for the Eagles. So stick around on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We will take a quick break, pay some bills, and when we come back right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Mo, I haven't clipped out I haven't clipped it out yet, but you know I'm going to clip it out where David Cutcliffe said he would recruit me, right? That's just going to be like my pinned Twitter.
I'm shocked that you haven't already, actually. But,
I just thought about it when I was making doing a little dancing there to some old school SMTN music there.
Yeah, when you were doing the Kevin.
Yes, exactly. It was definitely. I was certainly doing the Kevin James because I wasn't moving my feet, just side to side. Stay
right there.
Yes, stay right there. Oh man, well, let's do this. Let's talk a little high school sports, because of course we are covering you from preps to pros here on Main Street Sports today. And we start with preps. We got pros later. And this is Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. From the Heart Cafe, Renee, Hart, and the gang are keeping you fed and happy. I promise. All you got to do is just go out there and see her, just like you're going to Henry Horton. It's right there on the right after you turn off of 99 from Columbia. You can't miss it. Well, I guess you can miss it, but only if you don't turn the right way.
Wow. Wow. I thought we were done with that.
You know, it's been a while. We didn't miss it. We just didn't go
Didn't
the
get
right
to
direction.
it. Yeah.
We didn't miss it. You can't miss it if you actually, get there. So it's all good. But go see Renee, because she's got great burgers, great sandwiches, and the best desserts this side of the Duck River, or that side of the Duck River.
Side.
I don't know which side we're on, if we're on the same side or not. I have no idea.
We're not.
So there you go. All right. But to do that, we're going to talk with brand new athletics director at Zion Christian Academy, Kelly Bratton. Kelly, what's up, man?
Hi, guys. How are y'all doing?
We're doing well, man. And when Chris says brand new, he means like in the middle of his third day as Zion Christian athletics director.
You have no idea how brand new. I've hit the ground running and just trying to keep shoes on my feet.
It's like drinking water through a fire hose, huh?
And you just got to take it sometimes.
I understand. Kelly, congratulations on the new gig, coming back to athletics. As we mentioned in an article on mainstreetmurray.com, previously athletics admissions director at Martin Methodist, not to be confused with UT Southern, but after a 7-year baseball coaching career with the Red Hawks and previously with Columbia State, most recently spending some time in the banking field, but coming back from that. And I can see where this would be a little bit more fun, Kelly.
It is. Like we've talked a little bit before, I've always been in athletics since I was old enough to remember. And once I got into the banking field, I did enjoy that. It was a very good job, but this has always been appealing to me to be an athletic director and try to lead an entire athletic program. So when the opportunity came up, we thought about it and prayed about it, and glad that I made this decision.
He's coming in and out, Mo. I know the internet may be a little bit of an issue. That may be part of it. Matter of fact, learning your internet capabilities is part of the first 3 days of the job, apparently.
Yeah, it can be tough sometimes. Yeah, I think he's buffering, or we may have lost him entirely, and that's unfortunate. But Kelly Bratton, the new athletics director at Zion Christian, and trying to settle what has been a pretty unsettled situation here over the last few months with some changes in the football coaching position. They will have new boys and girls basketball coaches this year as well, and just a lot of movement there as they try to kind of gain their footing. They had previously dropped from the TSSAA to the Tennessee State Independent Athletic Association. They did that prior to the last school year, the 21-22 school year, and certainly paid off for the softball program, which won the state championship in TSIAA. But they're just trying to kind of figure some things out there.
Well, and that's the thing about, when you are a small private school. Look, I played at one. I understand exactly what they're going through and what they've been through. I mean, I can remember our softball program, our girls basketball program, our basketball program really struggled for several years in there. So, sometimes, especially when you're trying to build those numbers up, you just, you want to have a little bit of competition. You want to be competitive in whatever you're doing. And we've talked about that on this show. I understand, trying to even out the competitive balance because they just don't have the athletes that maybe a Columbia Academy does or something like that. So it's understandable.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's not just the athletes. I mean, it's just the numbers, period. I mean, their enrollments, when you look at some of the programs that they were competing with at the TSSAA Division 2A level, their numbers were fewer in most cases, but I think that's going to be the key for Zion is getting their enrollment numbers up, period. Once they're able to do that, they should be able to get their athletic numbers up and go forward from there. And Kelly, in the article that we've got posted on the website, mentioned that, being successful is what's going to grow the numbers. And that kind of speaks to moving down to the TSIAA. Again, the softball team won a state championship down there last spring. Baseball was competitive. Football is playing 8-man, and they will be playing 8-man again this year, despite some question over the past few months as to whether they were going to come back to 11 or go 8. They'll be playing 8-man for a second straight year under new coach Kurt Beathard, their 4th football coach in 3 seasons, I guess. So again, a lot of unsettled.
There he is.
Is he back? We got him back.
We have
Awesome. Kelly, we appreciate your fortitude in getting back with us. One of the things that Chris and I were just talking about, it's been a pretty unsettled situation at Zion Christian for the last little bit, and just gaining some stability across the board athletically. Hello?
Can you hear me at all?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
That does seem to be a problem. Justin, any idea?
Hey, yes, Kelly. Sorry, can you hear me, Kelly?
I can hear you.
Okay, gotcha. If you
can you hear us?
Rejoining that stream, can you hear Chris or Mo? I apologize.
No, I cannot hear them right now.
Okay.
I could as soon as I called. I could have just a few minutes ago, but I can't hear them right now.
Okay, I'm going to give you a call real quick. Sorry about that, guys. 1 second.
That's okay.
Well, again, it is unsettled, and they're still looking for coaches, Mo.
Yeah, they are. They're still looking for a boys basketball and a girls basketball coach. And, as you sit on July 28th, that's not the best situation to be in with classes starting next week. Not just for them, but pretty much across the board.
Yeah, if you're talking about unsettled programs, those are two that have been unsettled for the last several years. And then on top of that, a lack of success because of the TSSAA situation until last year. I believe it was the girls team. It was the boys team. The boys team actually made the semifinals of the TSIAA tournament. And I think, just that confidence and being able to have some of that is good until you're looking for a new coach. And it makes it more difficult for those kids who may want to play or may want to come out, but they don't know. They hadn't gone through summer workouts. They haven't done anything that, you need to do to be successful at the high school level. Because they just haven't had a coach. And that's not necessarily a knock on Zion Christian. It's just the fact of the matter that it is what it is. And when you're in a situation now with the way teaching has become a less desirable profession, coaching certainly has become a less desirable profession over the years due to the same reason that we have a lack of umpires. Sometimes parents can be a little overbearing, and so you have to love it to do it. And how many people are out there that love it, man?
Yeah, no doubt. You do have to love it, and that's going to be one of the keys for Kelly Bretton as he takes on this athletic director's position. And he mentioned it in the article. I think we're just going to have to make sure we bring the right people in. Once that's established and we show we're headed in the right direction, I think we're going to have the right coaches that want to be there. So, identifying folks that are in it for the long haul, like you said, that are willing to deal with growing a program from a number standpoint, from a success standpoint, that kind of thing. And that's what Zion Christian is going to have to do. They're kind of fighting an uphill battle from a number standpoint and just need some stability at this point.
No question. This is Coach's Corner. We would typically have a coach on. It's Kelly Bratton, still efforting to get back with us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. And as we continue to have this conversation about where you sit if you are a small private school, with the complete split the TSSAA did a couple of years ago, it put Zion Christian into a bad spot. Even Columbia Academy, Mo. I mean, when they were having to play against Davidson Academy in Class 1A and Jackson Christian, and you're talking about, here's another thing, the travel.
Sure.
And it's certainly it's not much easier in TSIAA, but there are a lot more Middle Tennessee schools in TSIAA than you might think.
Yeah, and when you look at where both Columbia Academy and Zion Christian are located, I mean, there's not another Division IIA school south of Murray County. So they're having to travel north into Nashville. Like you said, CA is having to play west against Jackson Christian and Trinity Christian and that type thing. And so the travel for those programs, now you do have Grace Christian right up the road in Leapers Fork, but for the most part, the travel has really been a tough situation. And for a program like a Zion Christian with small numbers, you've also got small finances.
All right, boys.
So dealing with that.
We have Kelly back on with us. If you don't want to.
Kelly, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I can hear you.
Awesome.
So as Mo was just saying, when you're a small private school like Zion Christian, obviously finances have a lot to do with your athletic decisions, especially when you're talking about what division are you going to play in? Do you play in TSIAA? Do you play in TSSAA? How much of an impact does that have on your thoughts on the future and what to expect from Zion Christian?
I mean, yes. I mean, all of that plays into it. We're wanting to get back into TSSAA, but we're not going to jump into it until we're ready. And we've got to have the numbers. We've got to have the athletes that are available to help us do that. To me, it doesn't make any sense jumping back into it when we're playing the type of schools that we'll be playing and taking a whipping on Friday nights. It just doesn't make any sense. And kids that are walking the halls here, there's some football players here. They just haven't been playing. So we're going to have to do a good job of getting the athletes that are already here to buy in what we're selling.
Kelly Bretton, the new athletics director at Zion Christian, joining us here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill. Kelly, as you walk in, what's the biggest – what's your top priority right now?
There's so many top priorities right now. Just getting to know the coaches. I've got to figure out who they are, what they coach, what they need to know about me, and we're going to set some goals as an athletic program about reaching the goal that we all want to be at, but being on the same path and able to obtain that goal. So I'm here knowing that I got a lot of work to do, and I know I may be out there helping some of the coaches coach at times, and I'm okay with that. But we've got a lot to do here as far as I'm finalizing schedules, getting to know the coaches, and figuring out budgets and who's going to line the fields off and who's going to do with the booster club, a lot of it. So I've got a lot of priorities to do right now.
How are the boys and girls basketball coaching searches coming for y'all right now?
Slow. We're so late in the year now. We're going to have to find that special person that wants to come in here and really develop a program, knowing that right away there are going to be some challenges. I hear our leading scorer is back, and so we just need to add a few other players around him. But I want that special coach that's willing to come in here and put that work in, not just look at the talent that's available. I've even got some ideas here about reaching out to some coaches that have been in this area that have been retired for a while and just saying, hey, come in here and help us get this thing started, and let's see where it goes.
I mean, that's exactly what we, Kelly, I played basketball and did exactly the school where I graduated from, did the exact same thing. We loved having, retired coaches who had nothing better to do than love on young folks. And that's
right.
important too. It's not just about the knowledge. It's about caring about young people and building, the character of those players.
I agree with you. It's like I said, we're late in the game here, so I'm not really going to rush this decision. I'm going to wait. We're going to find the right person that wants to be here, that will help us fill that gap.
Kelly Bretton, new athletics director at Zion Christian Academy, here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. Kelly, we appreciate you taking some time with us today. Thank you for your, again, as Mo said, your fortitude and your flexibility on getting back on with us. We really appreciate it. We look forward to hearing from you in the future when we can get you on for a full segment. How's that?
Sure, guys. I have enjoyed it, and I appreciate the invite. And let's stay in touch, and let's get Zion Christian Academy's name out there.
Hey, you got it, man. Again, Kelly Bratton, new athletics director at Zion Christian Academy, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint on Coach's Corner, which is obviously From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got a little college football to talk about, some interesting thoughts from across the world of college sports. So we'll get to it right after this on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back after this. Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, a look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour the campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message is presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, here with you on this Thursday. It's a throwback Thursday, I guess, if you're talking theme music.
There you go. Hashtag TBT.
So I guess that's what we got right now. But we are going to have a discussion about what was said on another radio show, a national radio show, as Jim Rome had Missouri football coach Eli Drinkwitz on, I guess, yesterday. And Coach Drink had some things to say. And I thought maybe, I thought he was smarter than this. But apparently he's not. And took some shots at the Vols.
Now, to be fair, I'm not sure if it's a question of intelligence or if it's just a question of personality. Coach Drink likes to stir it up a little bit.
He does. He really, he and Lane kind of trying to take on a certain former coach's role, and I could see that being a thing if you didn't get beat by 30 plus points.
You got to back it up. I mean, you can't talk that smack when you're getting beat by 5 touchdowns.
No,
which he did. So
yeah, and so essentially, he was really more taking a shot at the Tennessee issues with the NCAA. I don't think he was necessarily taking any shots at the current staff at Tennessee or what they were able to do last year to him and his Missouri Tigers. But, you're still talking about that program. And if you don't think Josh Heupel is going to use any material he needs to get his team fired up and ready to take on Missouri, because I don't really know what other motivation there is for Tennessee to take on Missouri.
Yeah, that might be a game that it's a little bit tough for UT to get up for under normal circumstances. So any artificial boost might be welcome for Coach Heupel and that staff. But at the same, I'll tell you, Eli did get off one shot that I kind of took a little amusement from. Yeah, when he said that he wasn't sure how committed his wife was to Missouri success when you look at what was happening at UT under the Pruitt
regime.
Yes, reign. Yes.
So you're right. I don't just. It's a great thing to take a shot at. But if we're being honest here, if I'm cheating and I'm doing what Tennessee was doing, and I have the knowledge of someone who has worked in compliance, you should know how to get around compliance issues, right?
One would think.
Well, the one thing that you couldn't count on was mirroring the phones. Because, I mean, who's ever done that in any compliance office, right? So, to me, I thought that was actually a pretty intelligent move on Pruitt's part, is you got a little inside knowledge on what are compliance offices looking for. What can we do to get around some of the things that they are typically going to get us for? And, because compliance offices know exactly what the NCAA is looking for because they deal with them, especially at Florida State. She dealt with them at least some.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, my thought was that was actually the smartest thing he did was get his wife involved.
So now is she going to get a show cause as well, or what?
That would be hilarious. And when we talked to Dave Hooker, couple of days ago. That was one thing that I thought was pretty interesting. Is he said basically, Tennessee's probably going to get less of a. They're going to get hit less than Jeremy Pruitt's going to get. Jeremy Pruitt is going to get some individual reprimand from the NCAA, as he should.
As well he should, yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Another thing I thought that, a lot of the Missouri faithful were all behind it. Talking a little trash themselves. And I'm like, how are you going to talk trash? And you just got, they skull dragged you last year. And you're talking trash. That's the thing is.
I love that image, by the way.
The skull dragging?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's one thing to be a little cocky, but you probably should do it on Missouri radio and not Jim Rome.
Well, here's the thing about that, though. The wonder of the internet, everything's national, everything's international, and nothing escapes anybody. I mean, even if he had done it on Missouri radio, it would have eventually come to the attention of
Vol
Big
Twitter.
Orange Nation.
You don't want Vol Twitter on you.
No, you really don't. So, and like I said, they would have eventually found it. It once it was out there, it was out there. So,
yeah, no question. But again, I could understand. I guess I just don't understand why you. Well, and like Rome said, Rome was like, "Look, I wasn't going to go there, but since you did, let's go.
Right,
let's go there.
Yeah, let me get these clicks. I mean, I'm not necessarily mad at him at that point. Since you done took the top off this, let's go.
You brought it up,
yeah.
As they would say in a court of law. Your client opened the door.
Yeah,
you opened the door. I'm just asking the questions. Oh man, well, good for Drink. Let him do his thing, whatever gets his fan base fired up. If that's what it takes. But the problem is you've also now got Vol football fired up, and it's probably not good for a team that beat you by 30 plus last year. So,
well, and by the way, hang with me.
I'm hanging.
November 12th.
That's a long way away. I think he might actually he might get away with this. It's a long way.
I don't know, man. UT fans got long memories.
Yeah, they get those elephant memories, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, let's mustard bottles and golf balls will be on hand. I got a feeling. Who knows? But yeah, let's take a break. I have another topic, and we can get to it later in the show because I think it's way too much to get into right now. But we'll get into it later in the show. We got some Braves content coming up, but we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be halftime here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Hey, there we are. If you want to be a high school sports official, you should have plenty of information at this point.
And plenty of opportunity.
There's that. Oh, man. Well, we have a quick halftime here, Mo, but I did want to mention this as we have you seen the Sun Belt Conference, any pictures from their media day?
I saw a post, but I did not really grasp the significance of it. So enlighten me.
Chris Vanini of The Athletic posted a picture. Did you realize that the Sun Belt most valuable player of the championship game gets an actual championship belt, like a wrestling championship belt?
I did not.
This is phenomenal. It's one of the most unique things that I've ever seen in college. You know, we talked about the turnover chain and all that stuff, but yeah, you know,
you mean the turnover chain that Miami's getting rid of?
That no longer exists. Well, you remember what did Alabama had? They had something. I think they had a belt. Matter of fact, they had a turnover championship belt. But yeah, that's what the most valuable player of the Sun Belt Conference championship game gets a chance to hoist what Ric Flair used to call it 16 pounds of pure gold or whatever.
I like it.
So it's pretty interesting.
A Ric Flair mention.
Well, you know, he was at Titans practice today. So we may get into that just a little bit because, you know, Ric Flair is Ric Flair.
No doubt.
And there is that. So, all right, we will see here. We will take a very quick break. When we come back, we will get into the Braves. So that's always good. So Stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, and when we will be right back after this. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao alongside the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, coming to you from our humble abodes. It is pouring rain right now outside here in Columbia, Mo. I mean, an absolute downpour.
I can't see outside here. I thought I heard some thunder a little bit ago here in Franklin, but really has me excited about the drive to Columbia after the show that I need to make. So, and also the the softball camp that you're going to later today.
Yeah, the KB Sides hitting camp is scheduled for tonight, and we'll see how that goes, I guess.
Do they have an alternate site?
Well,
might be weatherproof.
They were supposed to, which I mean, there is one available, or there was one available. I don't know that it is now, because when we looked at the radar, it looked like it wasn't going to be raining, and still doesn't look like it's going to rain while she's actually doing the camp. I guess it's just a matter of, is it okay to get on the field?
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is what she said, though. She said, look, I had to play in rain. Sometimes the field's going to be wet. Figure it out.
Spoken like a coach. I like it.
I mean, right? You overcome adversity.
Yeah.
Speaking of adversity, the Atlanta Braves are facing some adversity right now, as the New York Mets took a 2-game set from the Yankees.
Did not expect that.
Didn't see that coming.
While, in fact, the Braves were dropping 3 of 4 between the finale to the Angels at home and 2 of 3 in Philadelphia. So much needed off day today. But
certainly didn't see that coming either.
No, didn't see them dropping 2 of 3. You know, clearly didn't.
Max Fried decision.
Clearly didn't see them win sweeping just because they don't win series finales. But you know, and that Monday game was tough. I mean, Max Fried gave you a great start, gave you every opportunity to win it, and AJ just gave one up in the 8th, and sometimes it happens. But yesterday's game, I'm really kind of glad I didn't get an opportunity to watch, because might have had to hide the sharp objects had that been the case. So,
yeah, we were a little busy yesterday in that, and thank goodness we were, because I don't know that I could have handled it either.
Yeah,
Mo, it was not a good performance. It doesn't sound like in any aspect, and it's tough because you don't know what you're going to get out of Charlie Morton at this point. I mean, I want to get down on him, but at the same time, I realize that he matched Shohei Ohtani 0 for 0 in his previous start on Friday night. So and gave us 4 1/3 of shutout ball yesterday.
Before the roof caved in.
But before obviously that third time through the lineup gets a little tough for some folks, and it's certainly tough for Charlie right now. And and I wonder how much of that is fatigue. He's old. He's coming off a pretty tough injury. That's fatigue has to play a factor at some point.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I can't figure out how much of an impact his injury is still at this point, but he's very inconsistent, and I'm sure it's frustrating to him as well.
Well, the lack of training while recovering from said injury probably has a lot to do with it. And when you're talking about fatigue and being a pitcher, and the most important part of your body are your legs. So, I mean, it's unfortunate because we see how good Charlie can be against, Shohei Ohtani. We saw him with 4 shutout innings against the Phillies. You saw him be what he can be.
But when it gets away, it seems to get away quick.
And it just snowballs, much like Ian Anderson. I mean, it's either feast or famine with those guys.
With both of them. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, 4 shutout, getting out in the fifth, and then all of a sudden, boom, the floodgates open, and you can't get them closed back up, and you look up and you're down 5-0.
And even when you're down 5-0, this Braves team, you don't feel like they're necessarily out of it, except that yesterday the lineup included Mike Ford at DH.
Yeah, well, talking about inconsistency again, sometimes, besides Austin Riley, did he extend his hit streak yesterday?
Oh, that's a good question. Don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. That's a really good question.
Did not.
Okay, so the hitting streak ended at 17 games or 18?
I believe so. I believe it was 17. 0 for 4 with 2. 0 for 4. Left a couple on base. Yeah.
Man, so that's unfortunate. Especially, when you're going up against a guy who had not been great all year. I mean, 4.60 ERA, Kyle Gibson, and you just can't put any runs across.
Yeah. Eddie Rosario had 2 of the Braves' 5 hits yesterday.
Yeah, you love to see it, right?
See it? Ha. I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Yeah, Eddie 2 eyes. Yeah.
Well, he has been a really, really decent player for this. He's been exactly what you needed from Eddie Rosario since coming back.
Yeah. But the thing is, you kind of need him to take it to another level with Adam Duvall out for the year. You've got to get something from somebody in left field because he's pretty much going to be a platoon situation over there, you'd think. So it's, the trade deadline is Tuesday, and it's going to be interesting to see what Alex Anthopoulos does as a follow-up to last year's MVGM performance.
I've seen some folks who are saying that he's reaching out to the Giants.
About Jock
Peterson. Now, look, I don't think Jock is better than Mike Ford. Don't get me wrong, but I mean,
poor Mike Ford. He didn't do anything to deserve this.
He hasn't done anything. That's the problem. Who was the guy we had at the beginning of the year that we were giving all this slander to? And I forget who it was.
Corey Dickerson.
Yeah, the catcher, or Alex
Dickerson. Yes,
Alex Dickerson.
Yes, you don't even remember his name. Goodness, shows you how much of a mark he made. Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, it is what it is. You're going to you're going to have to hope some guys come through. But Alex Anthopoulos, he's got a couple of days to work, and if I know him, he's working.
Oh, no question, and I'm excited to see what happens Monday or Tuesday. I think the deadline is 2:00 our time on Tuesday afternoon, and I saw a quote somewhere where the morning of the deadline last year, he didn't have a thing working. So should be fun. I hear the music.
That means it's time for
This Day Embrace History. Yes, on July 28th, 1992, Nuxie Phil Necro collects his 250th career victory as he completed 7 innings and allowed just 2 runs on 5 hits in an 8-6 win over visiting San Diego. Al Raboski, the Mad Hungarian, pulling his best Will Smith, allowed 3 runs in the 8th before Gene Garber held the Padres to a run in the 9th for his 19th save of the year. Necro improved to 10-3 on the year with the win.
There you go. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have ESPN's Jeff Passan with us, and we'll talk some MLB trade deadline action and see what we got. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, is back after this.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, NSMA Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year, Mo Patton. And I only mention that, Mo, because the next guest that we are having is kind of, we only have him because of that award.
Yeah, probably so. I'm not sure if this is a connection that we make otherwise. I was fortunate enough to cross Jeff Passan's path as he was checking in over in Winston-Salem for the NSMA Awards back in June. And we got to talk for a couple of seconds there. And I was fortunate enough that he actually presented me with my award during the ceremony as the NSMA National Sports Writer of the Year. So, yeah, Jeff Passan of ESPN joining us here on Main Street Sports Today. Jeff,
how are you?
Gentlemen, I'm doing very well. Mo, good to talk with you again. How are you guys?
We're doing well, man. Appreciate you taking some time with us. Where are you right now?
I'm in New Hampshire, the hub of trade deadline activity. My child goes to camp here, and it was supposed to be visiting day this past weekend, and it got canceled because of COVID. So, yeah, I'm just hanging out up here. I'm going to Bristol tomorrow, and we'll be there for the remainder of the trade deadline through August 2nd. So I assume you will see my ugly mug on TV a fair bit these next few days.
Well, we look forward to it. Nothing like hanging out in New Hampshire, though. I don't think we've had anybody on from New Hampshire, have we, Chris?
No, we probably could since we have some NASCAR connections, but that would be the only way that we would ever have anyone coming to us from New Hampshire. There's no question there.
Jeff, as you mentioned, the truck. I'm sorry.
It's absolutely beautiful this time of year. So I would recommend anybody, if you guys are frying in the heat down there, we got like 75 and perfect here.
Man,
there is.
Please don't say that out loud. I'm willing to drive like right now. Just
head north. Jeff, in our previous segment, we were lamenting the Braves' current situation, lamenting the Braves who are 36-14 over their last 50 games. But yeah, suddenly they've kind of hit a little bit of a rough spot. They've lost 3 of their last 4 now. There's questions about Ian Anderson. There's questions about Charlie Morton from start to start. Obviously, left field is a little bit of a shaky situation. And after what Alex Anthopoulos was able to accomplish at the trade deadline last year, gotta ask, how does he follow up on that?
He's not going to top it. I mean, as talented an executive as Alex Anthopoulos is, what he did last year was his pièce de résistance. Like that. I mean, it won the Braves a World Series, and I'm not sure anything he could do at this deadline would have a similar type impact, just because, you know, Eddie Rosario had the week of his life in the NLCS. Jorge Soler went from like a 170 hitter with Kansas City to, you know, middle of the lineup guy for the Braves. And so the notion that he's going to repeat that this year is, I think, a little foolhardy, but there are areas where the Braves can get better. And, you know, the rotation's potentially one of them. Left field, I think, is probably the most acute need at this point. And it's going to be interesting to see just how aggressive he gets. I mean, Andrew Benintendi was a perfect fit there. The Yankees got him. So where does he pivot now? Is it David Peralta with the Diamondbacks? Is it Brandon Drury, who can also play some infield with the Cincinnati Reds? There are options out there. I just don't think that the Braves at this point, frankly, have a good enough farm system to go out and get one of those big name guys. Most of their reinforcements have either been traded or are in Atlanta already, and it's one of the reasons what their farm system has produced that they're as good as they are now. And I think they're probably, alongside the New York Mets, the biggest threat to the Los Angeles Dodgers at this point.
The thing is, I guess, Jeff, is Anthopoulos doesn't have to be as good or doesn't have to get the impact guys this time that he was able to get last time. Is that a fair read?
Right. Yeah, I think if you look at how the Braves roster is constructed right now, let's remember, number one, they did not have Ronald Acuna Jr. last year. So they have added one of the, 10 best players, 15 maybe best players in baseball. So automatically they are that much better with him in there. I think Max Fried has taken a step forward, though he was pretty darn good last year. Kyle Wright, who was a minimal part of that championship team, is probably, if not the number 3 starter, then number 2. And Spencer Strider, who, you know, barely pitched last year in the big leagues and now is a vital part of this rotation. And I understand the concerns about Ian Anderson. I'm sorry, it's a very first world problem if your 5th starter is not very good right now. When you have a bullpen like they do, though, when you can go, you know, Jansen, Matzek, McHugh, Smith, Minter, Chavez, like those are all guys who are, you know, when Will Smith is having the worst year in your bullpen, and this is the guy who was your closer last year, it tells you just how deep this bullpen is. And it's been one of the best in baseball. And then you look at the power. And what the Braves did last year was they had a better bullpen in the World Series and hit more home runs than the Houston Astros, and they won baseball games. That same formula can be repeated this year.
Jeff Passan of ESPN joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Jeff, you mentioned the power and the pen for the Braves. Are those pretty much the 2 keys for them as they come down the stretch?
I mean, I think those certainly are the hallmarks of this team. And it's not like the power is concentrated in one area. You know, Austin Riley has 28 home runs, but Matt Olson has 20, and Ozuna's got 18, and you know, Darno and William Contreras and Dansby Swanson all have more than 10, and losing Adam Duvall isn't great. You know, that's the acute reason for them to go out and get an outfielder. But if they don't add to it, and by the way, I also did not use the names Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies and Michael Harris there, all of whom are right on the cusp of double digits themselves. So we're talking everybody in the everyday lineup has power. That is clearly something that behooves the Braves. And listen, when you're in the postseason, guys, you can get away and win a World Series having 1 or 2 starters. The fact that the Braves have Fried and Wright, who both have sub-3 ERAs alongside Strider, you know, it gives Morton and Anderson a little bit of time to get right. And I'm not going to sit here and begrudge Charlie Morton too much, by the way. He's still got aside from Strider, the highest strikeout rate in the rotation. He's given up a few more home runs than you would like to see this year, but that sort of thing tends to even itself out over time. And he's still a pretty difficult pitcher to hit. So I'm never counting out Charlie Morton, but certainly not because of a couple of questionable starts.
Jeff, I want to move away from Atlanta for just a few moments because, here in Nashville, we are the melting pot of Major League Baseball fans. You have a ton of Cardinals fans thanks to the Memphis Redbirds, AAA affiliate. You've got Cincinnati fans who are here. Of course, this is right in the middle of Braves country as well. So you mentioned the Reds probably, selling at the deadline. And, of course, a lot of rumors swirling that, St. Louis could be where Juan Soto ends up. For our Cardinal fans, is that a legitimate thought?
I mean, it's a very legitimate possibility if you look in a vacuum at the prospects that the Cardinals have and the desire for the Washington Nationals. Like the Cardinals very easily, whether it's with young position players like Jordan Walker and Mason Wynn and Nolan Gorman, or with pitchers like Gordon Graceffo and Matt Liberatore, they very easily could go and get him. But I think their priority at this point is probably more of a starting pitcher. So I don't see Juan Soto as their target right now, but if the price comes down, their farm system is deep enough where they could go and get Soto and a front-end starting pitcher and still be okay with it.
Well, they're only 2.5 games out of the wild card game. So this is a team that certainly is going to be buyers at the deadline. Is that fair?
Oh, they're a wild card. Like the Cardinals are a wild card team right now. They're a half game up on the Phillies. They're only 3 back of the Brewers for the Central Division title. So, and remember, they've got quite a bit of talent already on the big league roster. If you look at the run differential, which tends to explain a team's record, the Cardinals actually have a better run differential this year than the Brewers. So, their bullpen, there's some questions there and some understandable ones, but there's just not a lot of relief help available at the deadline right now. If there's someone that they could target, Gregory Soto from Detroit would be a good long-term fix, a left-hander and a bullpen that really doesn't have an elite back-end left-handed guy. So you could see the Cardinals playing in that sandbox too. When you have a farm system like they do, the number of possibilities, they multiply. And so John Mozeliak, their president of baseball operations, really could do whatever he wants and still end up with one of the better farm systems in baseball, barring a Soto trade.
You mentioned Gregory Soto of the Tigers, and one of our colleagues at Main Street Media is from Michigan and asked us specifically to ask you about the Detroit Tigers, with a couple of moves they've made right now and what they could be doing at the deadline. Are they breaking down this roster and starting all over again?
I got to ask a question as an answer to your question. Does anyone listening aside from him care about the Detroit Tigers? Because I could go into a 2-minute soliloquy on what the Tigers are doing, but I just want to spare you guys that because no one cares.
Well, Brady McAtamy is definitely the only person. I say that. Now, you have to understand, Jeff, we are in an area of the country where General Motors' largest United States plant exists. So there are a lot of Michiganders here who probably do care to some extent about the Detroit Tigers. Yeah, ironically,
I honestly, I don't buy it, but you sold it. The Tigers have probably the best group of relief pitchers available right now. Soto could move. Joe Jimenez could move. Michael Fulmer could move. There are a lot of guys who are very attractive to other teams, but the problem is they're relief pitchers. And historically speaking, unless we're talking about an Edwin Diaz caliber guy, teams just aren't that willing to pay for a reliever like Fulmer, who's going to be a free agent after this year, Joe Jimenez, who I believe has a year of club control left, or Andrew Chafin, who I think has a mutual option for next year. The big prize would be Soto, who I think has 3 years of control left after the season, and is an effective left-hander and a guy who's shown that he can close. So yeah, there's going to be interest in him, but is that interest going to enrich the Tigers and make them contenders? No, not at all.
And if you will remember, the Braves 2 years ago went and got Shane Green, AL All-Star Shane Green, from the Tigers, and you see how that worked out. So pump the brakes on this Soto thing. Yeah. Jeff Passan from ESPN joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Jeff, before we let you get out of here, we never really had a chance to discuss it, but the MLB draft a couple of weeks ago, former Vanderbilt pitcher Kumar Rocker drafted number 10 in the 2021 draft by the Mets. For whatever reason, they couldn't get anything done, chose not to get anything done. Kumar goes and plays independent ball, goes number 3 to the Rangers, joining former teammate Jack Leiter in that organization. What were you hearing? Were you surprised that he went 3? What were your expectations for Kumar Rocker coming into the draft?
Everyone in baseball was surprised that he went 3rd overall. I mean, I have a ton of respect for the people who put themselves out there and try and do mock drafts. And I think the closest one was like 15. So it shocked the industry because, the slot for that pick is about $7.3 million, I think. And Kumar Rocker agreed to sign for $5.2 million. So taking an underslot deal of that magnitude is quite a thing. But Texas believes that Kumar Rocker isn't just healthy, but that he's going to be a big league pitcher very soon. And I don't think it's going to be this year, but it would not stun me at all to see him in the Rangers rotation at some point next season, maybe early next season, because the stuff is there, the pedigree is there, the performance has been there. He just needs to replicate it in the minor leagues, and he's going to be on a rocket ship.
Who hits first, him or Leiter?
That's a good question. I mean, Leiter right now has a 6-something ERA at AA, so the Rangers weren't afraid to move him quickly to a higher level, but at this point, he hasn't been performing quite as they'd hoped or expected. So I'm going to give the nod to Leiter just because he will have 100+ professional innings under his belt. But I don't discount the possibility that Rocker is going to make to the big leagues first.
There you have it. Jeff Passan of ESPN joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. And Jeff, we appreciate so much you taking the time with us. I know you're right in the middle of the whirlwind of the trade deadline, so I know that your phone is probably blowing up all the time. So we appreciate you taking some time away and giving us a bit of your knowledge, and we appreciate it very, very much.
Now, listen, I'm glad to talk Detroit Tigers baseball and national all the time. Please.
It seems weird, but I promise you it's odd.
Have a good one, boys.
Thanks, Jeff.
On the face of it, Mo, he's not wrong. It doesn't make any sense. But, as he said that, I was like, I didn't even think about it, but we do have a ton of people from Detroit who live right here in Columbia.
The Saturn effect is real. I mean, go to NHL season and look at all the Red Wings sweaters that you see around. So, I mean, yeah, it's a real thing. I didn't really think about it initially either, but it's a fair point. So never did I really expect to be asking about Detroit Tigers baseball on Main Street Sports today. But if you're going to ask anybody, that was the guy to ask.
Yeah. I mean, who else was going to know? It's interesting though, because I kind of want to know now. Like, I want to do a small poll. Like, are you a fan of the Detroit Tigers? I'm just gonna go outside of GM and just start making a ticker note.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, it's the first day of Titans camp opened up, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And Julio Jones opened up down in Tampa. What did he look like? We'll get into it right after this. We'll be right back. Main Street Sports Today is presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo, I just took a gander at The Athletic, where a friend of the show, Joe Rexroad, has an article on the Tennessee Titans. And, you know, we've all heard of Kimye. We've all heard of Benifer, Brangelina. But this is the first I've ever heard of Ray Rob.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a thing.
It is a thing on this article here from friend of the show, Joe Rexroad.
Well, if Joe says it's a thing, then it probably is. So,
well, it fits. It fits. That's all I'm saying. So, thought it was interesting where he.
I find it interesting that Vray comes before Rob.
Well, J Rob. So Vray
Rob.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can see how it came together.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
But obviously the two biggest questions coming into camp were Treylon Burks, Robert Woods. I saw a tweet today from Teresa Walker who said Robert Woods is expecting to be ready week 1.
He was working without a knee brace on today.
That would be the biggest win of the preseason if Robert Woods can play week 1, would it not?
You would think. I mean, you certainly don't want to rush that, but at the same time, if you've got him week 1, it's tough for that not to be a win, I think.
I mean, not just for anything more than, Treylon Burks doesn't have to feel like he is the guy.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be WR1 in week 1.
of his rookie year.
Yeah. Of his career. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, outside of that, it would be who? Westbrook Akine? Des Fitzpatrick?
No.
I mean, Des kind of came on a little bit late, but
not like that.
Your number one receiver would probably be tight end Austin Hooper. I mean, truly, that would be your best receiver proven in the NFL if Robert Woods doesn't play, would be Austin Hooper.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's tough. But after last year's debacle in day one, where Ryan Tannehill found himself running all over the place, tip passes for interceptions, apparently had a pretty good day yesterday. Had a couple of big throws, did not throw any interceptions, didn't find himself being tagged by defensive linemen. So that's a positive. If, honestly, the offensive line was a pretty big question too coming in, and it seems like maybe there's some answers there.
Yeah. And, not a lot of names up there. I mean, we know who some of those guys are, but nobody that kind of moves the needle. If any offensive lineman moved the needle, but like you said,
Ben Jones, maybe.
There were some questions up there, especially with Roger Saffold being gone.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron Brewer, Ben Jones, then you've got Nate Davis and Dylan Radins, who knows what to expect from those two guys.
Yeah. So but they, as we've mentioned at other points on this show, they don't have to be great with 22 back there.
They don't have to be great. It is better if he can get to the line of scrimmage without getting touched, but he's certainly made chicken salad a few times in his career. And so, yeah, they don't have to be great. As long as 22 is back there, he's going to give Tannehill at least an extra half second on every play action play.
Sure.
Unless they're just coming with an all-out blitz, he's giving you an extra half second, at least, if not more, right? So I think that's where you kind of have to, you have to think about this offensive line. And we saw it 2 years ago, how, I mean, despite having to shuffle everybody in the world around when Lawan went out, they were still pretty good. And Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards.
Yeah. And you feel like he was going to threaten that again this time around had he not gotten hurt. So, this offensive line, again, I don't think they have to be great, but they have to be good. They need to be good in all facets of the game to, for this offense to operate at its optimum. So it's good to see that they are, gelling together early on.
Yeah, no question. Of course, the defense, we've talked about it so many times. Jeffrey Simmons, Danico Autry, Tyler Tart will be coming back. Of course, you got Harold Landry, Bud Dupree on the outside, and then Zach Cunningham anchoring the middle with David Long. This defensive backfield, Christian Fulton and Eli Molden. We heard good things about Caleb Farley, although did see that Buster retired. Did you see that?
Yeah, Buster Screen. I'm not sure.
Buster Skrine is how I say it.
Yeah, the ex UT Chattanooga stand-up.
Yep. And then, of course, you got safeties, Amani Hooker, Theo Jackson, and to me, the quarterback of that defense, Kevin Byard at this point.
Certainly. Looks like it's going to be a steady bunch, and it's early on, but it's good to see them out there and starting to get some work in and starting to get moving toward NFL football. So.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. The Titans day one is complete. Day two is probably complete at this point. But looking forward to hearing more. And of course you can find Teresa Walker's work with the Associated Press. You can find Joe Rexroad on The Athletic. You can find Terry McCormick on TitanInsider.com. Plenty of Titans coverage out there, and we'll be keeping up with them as the preseason gets underway here shortly and the regular season gets closer. But, Mo, we made it through. Thursday is officially in the books, and it was a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll be back in the studio here soon.
Sounds good. Tomorrow's show, we should have Heather Williams talking a little NASCAR, and we should have the voice of the Nashville Sounds, Jeff Him. So Friday should be another good one.
Should be. Y'all come back with us 2:00 at ms_sports today on Twitter, mainstreetsportstoday.com. Appreciate you guys. For Justin Kulik, our producer, Mo Patton, and Chris Yao, saying have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.